Hello friends, today we are going to talk about the world's biggest military exercise after the Second World War done by the Indian Military Services in 1987. So without wasting any time, let's begin the video. After the Indo-Pakistani War of 1971, the Indian Army had long been advocating for practicing modern methods of land-based warfare. The Chief of Staff of the Indian Army, General Krishnaswamy Sundarji, an officer who earlier had commanded the infantry division in the Bangladesh Liberation War, threw himself into the Indian Army's modernization. He was granted permission, and ordered a large-scale military exercise to test new concepts of mechanization, mobility, and air support, and also, these exercises were done to test that if the Pakistani side have any of the nuclear weapons or not, and if they had nukes, then how would India and the Indian Army would deal with it. He issued orders to mobilize the mechanized and armored divisions, and armed tanks were sent to take position. In December 1986, with more than 10,000 armored vehicles spread across its western desert, India launched the final stage of a huge military exercise that stirred new tensions with Pakistan. Operation Brasstacks was a major combined arms military exercise of the Indian Armed Forces in Rajasthan, state of India, that took place in 1986 until its execution in 1987 as part of a series of exercises to simulate the operational capabilities of the Indian Armed Forces. It was the major and largest mobilization of forces in the world for a military exercise, involving the combined strength of two army commands, almost 600,000 troops, half the Indian Army. Operation Brasstacks was tasked with two objectives. The initial goal was the deployment of ground troops. The other objective was to conduct a series of amphibious assault exercises by the Indian Navy near to the Pakistan naval base. Operation Brasstacks involved numbers of infantry, mechanized, air assault divisions, and 600,000 army personnel who were massed within 100 miles of Pakistan. An amphibious assault group formed from Indian naval forces was planned and deployed near to the Korangi Creek of Karachi division in Pakistan. The scale of the operation was bigger than any NATO exercise, and the biggest land exercise since World War II. Initially, around 600,000 to 800,000 troops were mobilized and stationed on Rajasthan state's western border, less than 100 miles away from Pakistan. The government of Pakistan viewed this military exercise as a direct threat to Pakistan's physical existence. After the success of the Israeli Air Forces' surprise Operation Opera airstrike on the Iraqi nuclear power plant in Osirak in 1981, the Pakistan Armed Forces had been on alert. Since 1981, the commanders of the Pakistan Armed Forces were given standing orders to mobilize their forces at once, from all directions, as quick as it could to divert such attacks. According to memoirs of nuclear strategist and theoretical physicist Munir Ahmad Khan, hectic discussions took place every day between the Ministries of Defense and Foreign Affairs, amid fears that India might attack Pakistan. This included further orders to Pakistani Army to deploy the entire armored corps with the 5th Corps to move to the front lines. By mid-January 1987, the Pakistani Armed Forces and Indian Army personnel stood within firing range along an extended border. On January 1987, Pakistan had put its entire nuclear installations on high alert, and the crisis atmosphere was heightened. During this time, Abdul Qadir Khan, who made Pakistan a nuclear state by stealing nuclear tech from France, gave an interview to Indian diplomat Kuldeep Nair in which he made it clear that Pakistan would use its atomic weapons if its existence was threatened, although he later denied having made such a statement. The Indian diplomats claimed that their diplomats in Islamabad were warned that Pakistan would not hesitate to use nuclear weapons if attacked. Pakistan denied the veracity of these statements. But soon after, the military exercise series of diplomatic talks started between the Indian and the Pakistani side, and with the help of cricket diplomacy, tensions were released and the forces were called back from both the fronts. But by this time, considering all of the Pakistani statements, it was quite clear to the Indian establishment and the Indian armed forces that the Pakistanis have nuclear weapons, and soon after that the Prime Minister of India Rajiv Gandhi ordered the Indian nuclear scientists to start converting their nuclear program into a weaponized nuclear program. But India had to wait till 1998, where India conducted 5 nuclear tests, out of which 4 were atomic bombs and 1 hydrogen bomb. Thank you for visiting our channel. If you like the video, then please like, share the video and subscribe the channel to support us on YouTube.